Today, we eat blackberries. Come on, let's go. Today, we eat blackberries. Come on, let's go. Today, we eat blackberries. Come on. After 25 days of streaming every night, not only just chilling, but I'm outside. I'm outside, people. One take.
Hey, what's up, Daywalk?
I'm outside, y'all. I'm outside.
Can you give me the room? Okay. Jacob Allen, I always come back. Oh, you're a comeback king, Jacob? That's what's up. Some people start good, some people... Hey, can you give me a drink of water, please? Some people start, some people finish. All different types of people. I don't know if I'm a starter or a finisher, but nice to see you. Welcome back. What you been doing since you've been gone? Haven't seen you in a while. I've been streaming every night. This is the sicky. This is the 62nd night. Thank you, sir. This is from the Berkey? Okay. Thought you almost got me. Got me with that well water. You about to go back home? Yeah. It's funny you say home because today I got to travel back to New York, to the Bronx. Yeah, Jacob, I'm getting good at reading typos. I'm getting really good. Typos are just a part of our life now. It is a part of our life, and I'm getting pretty good at reading them in the chat. So no worries there, man. You're all good. I was able to post a excuse me, I was able to watch some of the stream from last night. I've been really struggling with the quality and making sure I get it right. I think I finally got it to the place where people aren't going to complain anymore. Not so much the audio quality, but the video quality. So if you have a tip or you notice something's a little off, just let me know. I'll see what I can do to improve it. But it seems as if last night's improvements really worked. We are streaming on both the vertical live feed and horizontally. So that's cool, and that's been working out, and I think we're going to continue doing that at least for the 100 days. The numbers haven't looked the same, so I'm kind of calibrating to see what's normal for doing the dual stream, as YouTube calls it, versus just streaming one or the other. But as we know, there's a catch-22. Oh, you've been awake for 36 hours in America. Oh, Jacob, you're in Antarctica, huh? It has been a while. I've talked to a lot of people since, none from Antarctica or none in Antarctica. Beverly, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing well. I was just talking about having gone home. Jacob Allen in the chat says, I haven't seen him in a while. I said, where you been? He said, work. He's about to go back home. And today I got the experience of going back to what some refer to as New York City. I refer to as the Bronx, which is inside New York City, but it doesn't look like the same as what you see on TV. So when I tell people I'm from the Bronx, to me, in my opinion, they tend to think, no man, he's gonna be going to sleep very soon. Got home about an hour ago. How are you doing, PSK? What's up? I think I played maybe 3 games today and got off of there in a hurry. Beverly, could you imagine? I did not even touch. Well, I did touch some soil because my wife asked me to steal. I don't know if we call it steal, but in her brother's yard there was a plant that she wanted, and it was an offshoot, and she asked me to go take it out. So I just pried it out with my fingers. So I did touch some dirt, but I was not in my yard today. It was one of those days where you're just not near your property, which is a rare day. That is very rare for me. Usually, I'm here the whole day. So I would say the ride home was a bit nostalgic. I was split between feeling like a tourist, feeling a rush of memories, just about, coming home. Yeah, actually, PSK, I have not streamed. I haven't really streamed or played. Mick the Pig, what's up, man? I definitely haven't streamed Rocket League since we did play that time. I almost regret it. I didn't realize how active that community is, because most of that doesn't represent much of what my stream usually is. So I think it was pretty hard to balance that, and then you're asking me to play, and I'm not, I'm usually on here talking, not playing. So it's interesting. I'm not gonna jump over and play right now. We just got the stream started. If you check back in an hour and a half and things died down here, I'd definitely be willing. But this is gonna be one of the standard streams. We're gonna get into some topics. I got a few topics, and based on where the chat goes, I definitely will take it there. Um, yeah, just not. I'm just not playing. Yeah, I know. I hear you. Well, let's set a time then. What time do you usually get on in the day? Because I could definitely commit to that. Being like tomorrow late afternoon or early evening. Just drop me a time and I'll do what I can to see what I can to do that. I did read something in the chat. Plants, we have a couple of million plant species down here. That's awesome. That's awesome and cryptic, and I'm sure it's a reason why you have them. Make the pick, yo. We going horizontal. Well, I told you. I've been. All right, man. I see PSK. What do you mean? I'm saying, tell me a time that you will be around to play tomorrow, or just come back in like an hour and a half. I'll play a game or two. Yeah, I told you to make the pick that I was debating about where the numbers are, but I'm actually not just going horizontal. I'm doing a dual stream. So through the YouTube Studio app, they optimize it. That's why I don't have my even though I don't have the big ego, but essentially what it means is they take this middle portion of your stream, and the people who are catching it, I'm not doing it in 50 minutes. I usually go for almost 2 hours. They take the middle portion of your stream and then they optimize it, try to optimize it, and then they send that out on the shorts live feed, and then the horizontal just stays as it is. So I think, and we could discuss the numbers sometime this week, but I think it's the right thing for me, and it feels right. I'm gonna move forward. Beverly says sometimes we need a break. I am not a believer in that. I take my breaks, but I don't take them in a breaky way. I go from one thing that's severe and overcomplicated to a different, like to the other end of the spectrum. Like what PSK is asking me to play. He's talking about a video game, Rocket League, very popular video game that's been around since 2015, I believe. And there's a competitive side to it if you want to, what's called ranking up. And he's pretty good at the game. I'm not so much, but I do enjoy playing, and you could compete against people. You are competing against people who have similar skills that you do. So I could get out of the dirt and then come inside, and I'm still competing and exercising. I don't really think that I'm good at stopping the exercising of the brain. And look, this YouTube stuff, right? So today I got the opportunity to feel like I was a YouTuber. I had multiple conversations where getting around family, he said, to be honest, kind of overrated. Yeah, I get you. Where family was able to, ask a question about content or YouTube. And that's what I experienced today. And I had an answer, not good, not bad, but I did have an answer. So I felt like I have crossed over into this barrier that, whether I like it or not, I guess if you were to ask me some time ago, I probably would have had a different answer as to how it impacted me, how this affects me. But I don't think that that's going to change, because when I was driving down, I felt the urge to take out my phone and snap photos and take video. I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've ever done that. And I guess I'm starting to care about the bigger picture as to, there was maybe 3 weeks ago now. You have to go in 10 minutes. Well, you stay around for these 10 minutes. I'll try to make the best 10 minutes of the stream. But no worries. Thanks for coming back, for real. I appreciate that. So yeah, I don't remember in the past me ever going through, driving through the city or driving to the city and having this feeling, this urge to take photos, and of things that I've looked at my whole life. And yes, I've been distant from them in the recent past, but I don't think I've ever had that urgency to do. And today I did it. I was being like a tour guide for my children. Maybe it's because my children are reaching a certain age. Yeah, I appreciate your support, sir. So I have support from. I've seen support from Asia. let me do this. I've seen support from my home continent. I've seen support from Antarctica. I thought, Jacob, that I would get to last, but apparently I got there first. Jacob Allen, have you watched the Will Smith? Did you catch the Will Smith, at least the episode of the show that he did where he was in Antarctica? And, him being such a mega star, just find it interesting when he makes a story about what he's doing. Just curious if you caught any of that. Man, I'm looking for this video on the side. I filmed this video of some pigeons. Now you can see it in my hat. I don't know if the light shows it too well, but the hat is a man, that light is bright. It says chicken farmer, and you think it was in Hawaii? Oh. That's nice too. Yeah, so I'm mainly all about my chickens. That's the real thing for me. And when I went to the city, I was on Pelham Parkway, which is a very famous parkway. It's this stretch of where cars do drive through it. It is a parkway. Oh, Pearl Harbor. Oh man, that's awesome. And you could drive through it, you could walk there, you could ride your bike. There's grass. So it's any place in New York City where there's a patch of grass is seen as a wonderful place. You can test my logic. Let me see if there's any Pelham Parkway. Let's see some love. This is basically where I was at. Are you guys, anyone familiar with Pelham Parkway? Oh, I found an awesome image that I want to show you guys. Okay. And shout me out in the chat if you go to church on Easter, or you just celebrate with the family. If you don't celebrate, that's also cool. If you had a good day, if the day turned out to be something of quality, as it should. All right, so hey, my son is here. I actually want to show him this too. Remember when we were in when we went to see Tayuth on Pelham Parkway? This is how it looked. Oh, you guys, That's how it looked. So you know where the cars were in the middle. Oh, you had an egg hunt today. Mick the Pig says ate too much food. It was a good day, man. Yeah. So this is what Pelham Park. This is exactly where we were at, and this is what it looked like.
Those cars.
Oh, those cars. So this is 1918. Mick the Pig says, "Yo, Pelham Parkway."
1918.
This is literally exactly where we were.
18.
You see how the cars are in the middle, and then you see that patch of grass, and then you see the other lane, which is the local lane. We were in the so over 100 years ago. So I was on Pelham Parkway today. You have to go, Jacob. It's all good. I'll see you next time. My son said that he didn't know that they had cameras. I don't want to explain. Okay. So I was on Pelham Parkway and I was hanging out. Went to go just stop by. Oh, okay. That's what you were saying. Model T Ford. Yeah, let's put that back up. Didn't know you would catch that. So not only are there a lot of historical imagery and potentially videos online, like film of Pelham Parkway, but there's also the Grand Concourse. Mick the Pig caught it. He caught it. He said, "Yo, your camera is looking crisp." Yeah, it's the same. It's the same webcam. I finally fixed the settings. And I was telling people the other night. Essentially, it was the auto exposure and a little bit of white balance. What's the other? Autofocus. So when you take off auto, the camera doesn't try to think for the environment. So I have a better chance of using the lighting myself. So I did bust out the ring light, but it really wasn't as much about the lighting because I was actually overexposed. And so I just tweaked a little bit the brightness, and that changed everything. And the clue was that all of the graphics on the screen, like this little DJT thing, that was very sharp coming across the feed. So I knew at that point it had nothing to do with bitrate because all of the graphics were showing in like 1080p, even when I pulled it up on the TV. See, I was saying I passed by the Grand Concourse today and Pelham Parkway. I was on Fordham Road, and it was super nostalgic. And for me, I could geek out about, I have experiences living in this place and walking through all these historical places. But what I did geek out about was I seen, what do you think? It was about maybe 60 to 80 pigeons. There was like pigeons concentrated. I'm trying to find this video, but it's kind of not working on my phone right now. But yeah, there was a concentration of pigeons, and it was like, I do fowl now. I work with chickens, so I was looking at them and instantly thought to myself, man, if I came back here, I'm gonna get a pigeon coop. Like, this is what I do now, and I had more interaction with the pigeons than I did the people. I was scoping out the Bronx River, and I don't know, it was just I'm just a different person now. But yeah, it was really awesome to so-called like return home. That was fun. Anybody want to shout out anything they did? Did they do church today? Did some interesting family. You got some surprises. I got a nice dinner, unexpected dinner. We were a little mixed on the plan because a lot of people seem to be on vacation or returning from vacation. So Um, it wasn't as fluid when it comes to who's going to be there, who's going to be around. But still enjoyed myself. We could get into a topic. I just want to make sure we still have someone hanging on in here. We're gonna get into raw mode where I start telling everything about what's going on, because when the numbers, man, we didn't do church, but low key felt like we should have. We did my parents' place Saturday, yeah, and your wife's did. Okay, no, that sounds like a good. You had a whole weekend, so that sounds good. So I don't know if anyone else is hanging out. We did have a few more people in here earlier, but it is Sunday night. Sometimes it's just how Sunday is, and if we hang on long enough, we have been just shouting out Blue Daffodil, Dawn. That's like the bat signal now. Just say Dawn, and she might come in. But if not, that's chill. It's all good. Yeah, I think this whole multi-stream, the only problem with the multi-stream is that I don't know how to find, and I researched it. Had it tough. Thank you, sir. I researched it. How do I find to see the shorts feed, the short, like the vertical live? It's really hard to get to because you could only get there being from an organic source, because the link, if you have the link, because there is a horizontal, it's going to take you to the horizontal. But I have proven that the shorts feed, it's appearing because of the analytics in the background. But I don't really know, what's the impact. My reasoning for doing it is that we're at a point where we have very quality, there's quality conversations with a small group. If you're familiar with like small group, medium group, large group, at what point is the information, at what point do you need more people to manage the feedback in two directions? So as for right now, it's not a micro small group on a good day, and that's why it makes sense to do it. And maybe not having the random, hey Carolyn, how are you? Hope you had a good Easter. Same to you. And I did. I went to church. We took the family to church. I had to drive down to the Bronx, so I went to my mother-in-law's church. And then we met up with a few people, and then we came back and had dinner, and then I got home. So it was a full day away. So how did your Easter go, Carolyn? Is that I think you told me before, is that 1988, the year you say you graduated high school? When I see it, I think that's the age, but I don't think that's the age. I think you said that's the year you graduated high school. All right, well, I'm glad you're here. I could move into one of the things that I wanted to talk about. So I did wanted to just discuss the going home. Carolyn, I was just explaining how I had slightly different feelings returning, going and taking a drive to the Bronx, to New York City. And there's a lot to see. Don't get me wrong. I think if I had to tell you what stood out the most, the first thing that the kids say, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," we were talking about graffiti. I'm glad you had a good day. And yeah, I did remember that, Kyle, because when you see numbers in there and it maps to a year, it reminds me of being on AOL, America Online, and a lot of people would have it would always be like a year in it. I think my mom was born like 57. It's like you always have like a year in it, and it kind of takes me back. I don't think people do that as much anymore. Um, Probably a privacy issue now. People like, I don't want to know. I don't want you to know anything about me. But yeah, so my my kids were up and awake. It wasn't the worst drive. They weren't really bickering. When we got to the Bronx, it was like the first thing they said was, "Wow, that's a lot of graffiti." And I'm looking and I'm like, to me, it's just par for the course. It's it's just a normal thing. So then we get in a discussion about the legality of, graffiti, and then my other son says, why does all the graffiti look the same? And the thing that I've learned, and I'm still learning, is that my job is not to have the answers. Like, you can't have all the answers, right? I'm committed to coming up with an answer, an honest answer the best that I can. And definitely then the last layer to that is based on who I'm talking to, right? So I may have, one child that just needs it straight. They want to go deep into why it is. The other one might be super surface level. But then you have this artistic reception when he wants to know. I've never heard this. He wants to know, he's looking at a strip, like a whole wall. And there might be, and this is in the distance, there might be 20 different tags, in graffiti. That's called tagging. And people are putting their tags, they're drawing up. Good question. I'll answer that in a bit. He puts, you have 20 different tags, and what he sees from his vantage point is not, he's okay that he knows that somebody sprayed it. He knows that they're different people. He wants to know, why do all the letters somewhat look the same? And I think he did say bubble letters, right? And I've never thought about it that way. I've never thought like, oh, how could all of them look the same? I graffiti the Popeyes. They had no biscuits. Okay, CJ. You changed your profile picture. Something's different, CJ. So I see, for me, my answer was, a lot of them learn from one another, and it's a written style the same way that cursive looks the same, like for the most part, right? Most of it looks the same when you learn how to write. You're kind of mimicking how they tell you to write, and you're not really putting flavor on that until you kind of know the rule before you break the rule. Popeyes 2 for $20 got me through hard times. 2 for $20. What you getting for 2 for $20? We used to do what was Pop? I thought it was like a $5 meal. It was like a three piece fries and a biscuit. Does that sound right? It's been a while since I had some Popeyes. But yeah, so I explained, that was my explanation, and I feel like that made sense for the type of parent I am, keeping him, like meeting him halfway and understanding he wants an answer, but he needs to relate it to something, almost like to help him really have a competence. And then if he's asked that question, like say his little brother decides to ask him that question, he'll have an answer for it. But for me, I'm coming up with this on the fly based on who he may be. Make the Pick says you get 5 pieces, 2 sides, and ooh, 5 pieces, 2 sides, and 2 drinks. Do you do spicy? Make the Pick. We had a Q&A on Friday night. We did a Q&A. I got a few questions. It was a learn about Darnell. Learn about Darnell just talking. And we had a few good questions, but that kind of remind me when you just said, yo, Big D, do you think there's going to be a swing back to analog technology? I read an article today that younger generation are really into analog tech at the moment. That's a hard one. First, Last says, what you talking about tonight, bruh? Well, I was talking about going home. Today I traveled to the Bronx, and I was talking about my experience traveling home. And then I do have a topic that I want to get into later. I don't know if it's an extended one or a really short one. It all depends on what the reception is and if there's some feedback. But first, Last, you're welcome to hang around, give some feedback, interact, however you see fit. I was just talking about graffiti, which was the first thing that my children, we're driving on the Bronx River Parkway, and one of the most intriguing things for me driving on the Bronx River Parkway is the river that I never interacted with for 25 years of living there. So I'm telling my children, you do like the quiz, like, what's a parkway? What makes a parkway a parkway? What's the difference between a highway and a parkway? And it's surface level stuff, but it's the type of stuff that if you know, you know. And if you walk past something every day, you may not know, because culturally, that's kind of how we do things. And so we got past the whole parkway, and we're on the Bronx River Parkway, and I'm just locked in at seeing sometimes this river looks like a tiny little stream, and then it goes to a big river. And for this to be really the foundation of why the settlement exists, all the different water that, the port, it's, New York is a port city, and how water travels is really the reason of what makes it unique, what makes it desirable to settle on. And where we are in our so-called civilized brains and times and culture, we have a huge disconnect with what's going on. There's this famous YouTuber, I say famous, I think this one is famous. I watch him canoe down the Bronx River. And maybe that's why I was a little intrigued by it. But that was what I was intrigued by. So that's what I was talking about. First, Last is what my children were intrigued by. It was all the graffiti. It was just so colorful, and now I have to kind of catch them up because they don't know what graffiti is from a first-hand basis. They've never seen someone sit by a wall and spray paint. They know that you use spray paint, but they've never seen that. So it was interesting, and I always got to just take it in and be honest about their vantage point. I don't make them feel a type of way. I just want to know what they know, and then I kind of translate that, connect it, and but inside I'm like smiling because they're in their world, they're gonna learn things that I've never learned, and vice versa. One way is not, right, or one or the other way is not the right way or the wrong way. It's just that we learn and we see different things. So I'm putting the pieces together as I'm still learning. First Last, did you have a good day? You celebrate Easter? What's up? Nick the Pick, you got to send me that article to really, for me to help me get some context on where they think things are going. But if I had to blindly answer that and have not thought specifically about that, I would say that sounds a little like it sounds like a niche. It doesn't sound like that's gonna be the masses. Like, we're still playing 2D games. There's always been a uptick on a 2D game trend, right? If you were to tell me that I would be in my 40s and people are still every now and then dipping and playing Mario and Sonic, that to me wouldn't make any sense, because prior to Mario and Sonic, there were other games, and those games didn't necessarily survive. I don't know. I didn't know then that it likely had a lot to do with, the industry, the companies, the copyrights, and the ownership. Atari, back then, it wasn't how it is now, where the game company is making games, and they want to reach as wide of an audience as they can. So they're going to do their best to be successful on multi-platforms, right? It's really like it's universal from a game company perspective. Back then, Atari at points, hey Don, I said I put out the bat signal. We only had one person in there. I said, let me put out the back signal, and I said, don't like what is don't get me scared up here, because nobody I know says Candyman multiple times. But what's the other? Oh, bloody! I ain't even gonna say it, but you know what I'm saying. Have you heard of Analog? They create high quality clone consoles. Oh no, I didn't. I've never heard of that. Super cool stuff. Picked the Analog Pocket from them. Oh no, I have not heard of that. It's a Game Boy clone console. Oh, let me just look it up while I'm on stream. Oh, I've seen this. I've seen it. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that. Got stuck at work for extra hour. You have multiple systems. Oh, cool. Shadow Black in the house. He's back. He's back. He's running from... He the only person I know. He runs from one channel to his one YouTube channel to the other. He's be running back and forth. You seen this? I sent out a signal for Dawn. I didn't send your signal. Oh man, a Sunday night with my faves. I saw. PlayStation 3, 5, GameCube, a Sega Saturn, and a Wii. Let's go back to the Sega Saturn era for a sec. And since I got the real crew in here, we could get into a conversation that I had this evening. I had so many conversations today. I was saying earlier how it was the first time that I felt like, Shadow Black, you arrived at the right time, because I was saying that for the first time I felt like I was a content creator. Today was the first day 62. You want to know why, Shadow Black? And for Dawn and Mick the Pick, if you have questions about that, or you please ask. This is actually this Sega Saturn is one of my favorite. This is probably one of my favorite systems. I wish I still had this system. Oh yeah. Oh, they got shipped to the UK. Yeah, I didn't know the back then. I feel like I was too young to really know the backstory. When games kind of went to die, we had a couple stores. Okay, thanks, Shadow Black. We had a couple stores. Remember, Shadow Black, when we had Funko Land? Oh, you missed it, man. I was in the Bronx today, so I had showed them. Let's hope something. I just blindly type. I don't know. Yeah, Funko Land. This is what we had near us. This is like a pre-GameStop 3DO. This is like a GameStop, a pre-GameStop, and this is where we got games from. We had one that's actually on the Grand Concourse, as I was saying earlier. 8 may have that one. Oh, you may have that one. Wow. He said he used to beat you at NBA Jam. No, I was just talking about that today. My son is working on his announcer voice, so I was telling him about he's on fire. He's on fire. Oh, okay. It came out the same time. It didn't sell. So yeah, same time as Nintendo. Yep, GameStop. So you could play NBA Jam on the live right now. What you have NBA Jam on? I wouldn't mind it. Maybe not right now, but I wouldn't mind the NBA Jam live stream. So what I was when I was hinting at, and for those of you who were on early in the stream, I kind of expressed this a little bit, but I can go in more detail now. For the first time I experienced when I was going down to the Bronx, I was curious about, like, when I was driving, you do have the Sega Saturn. Wow. You know how much I wouldn't say I got bullied for having a Sega Saturn, but I think that people didn't understand the Sega Saturn phase. People that I was connected to, that I was around, they didn't understand it because Sega came out. Sega in a small time period went from Sega, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong here, but what I remember was we had Sega Genesis. Then they made an expansion cartridge, which was called Sega 32X, where you just plug it in, and that gets you from 16 bits to 32 bits. And then we had Sega CD. Awesome system. It was Sega's first attempt at a CD system. I think it was good, and it obviously laid the framework for what became PlayStation, because Nintendo still didn't go any kind of disc route or CD compact disc route. And then we had Sega Saturn. Ooh, Road Rash. Ooh. Wow. Oh man. I know, she said Road Rash. Wow. My one of my favorite games, I don't know if it came with it, but it was called Sewer Sharks. Was that Sewer Sharks on? I think it was called Sewer Sharks. I love that game. Oh no, that was on Sega CD. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. This is one of my favorite games on Sega CD. Sewer Sharks. Sega CD was a fire system as well, so yeah, you can hit the dude's like racing on your bike. Yup. Yeah, no, it sounds like we all loved it. And it was so short-lived, but when it was time to move on, I kind of picked up a trait. Sega Saturn is the first game that I picked up this trait, and I still have it today. I don't buy new video games. I have not purchased a new video game ever. Like, since that time, I wait till the video games on their last leg, and then when you go to wherever the store you're gonna buy it, and you could probably buy 10 games for the price of one, and I'll just load them up. I remember when I got my Xbox, I ended up with like Lucha Libre Wrestling. I did not care. It was it was Lucha Libre and the Luchadors, and we was just masked up, and I was playing wrestling, and it was an amazing game. Can you be a mod? I don't know about the mod thing. We don't even have that many people hanging out. My mod to human ratio is kind of off right now. Not yet, man. I don't even really know what the role of a mod is. Please hang around. If it makes sense, it makes sense. What makes my current mod special is that I know them in real life, and that's where my comfort zone is. Sega had dope music for real. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if if that's what drew me. Maybe it was something in the background for sure. Driving me in that direction. PSK, where are you from, man? Let's get to know each other. Like I said, I'm not on these YouTube streets. I'm usually on your side of the deal. I'll comment. I watch a bunch of live streams. I've actually never been a moderator to anyone's platform, even if I've watched them for years. I don't know enough. I watch what mods do on different channels, and there's like different flavors of that. But because you won't time people out or anything, just want my text to be blue. You from Canada? What part of Canada? Yeah, I mean, look, let's get to know each other and hang around. For me, there's like a lack of a comfort zone. And I'll tell you the truth, like, not that I'm not always. Oh, sorry, hubby call. Well, you got answer when hubby call. Not that I don't tell the truth, but I'll just give you. How long have you been Alberta? I like that. How long have you been like avid watcher of YouTube, and like roughly how many content creators do you like follow? Not how many you sub, but people that you're familiar with and watch. And that may matter. Over the years, I would say I at least have like a handful of people that I look out for, and I always want to make sure that if they're streaming or if they're putting out content that I'm checking in. And I've noticed this trend where there's things that all of them seem to go through. So it's not isolated to their personality. Alberta medicine hat. It's not isolated to their personality. It's not because they're spunky people. It's just YouTube. It's the fact that you have the right to come in here and say these things until I say that you can't say these things. And so what are the things that they usually have? Usually creators, when they open themselves up to communication with other creators and they kind of cross their audience, conflict is on the way, right? It does not take much for somebody to say, oh, that guy Darnell just talking? No, I don't like him. You probably shouldn't go to his channel because I came in his chat and I asked him to play a video game, and he played one time and he didn't want to play no more. And I kept asking him, so he don't really do what he say he gonna do, right? And now you know how in the real world, those words travel and somebody hears it the wrong way, and then there's all this hate, so to speak, for a content creator. Time and time again, I've seen people run into conflict as a content creator, and they're not doing the wrong thing. It just kind of happens. Please ask your question at any point. And then the other thing is, I've seen this moderated thing where people being moderators, there's like a responsibility to doing it, but at the same time, a creator's growing, and maybe in a 6 months, maybe Mick the Pick and Shadow Black don't meet what I feel needs to happen as a moderator, and it's always going to be like some difficult kind of conversation, because that's when we get into the human side, and you need to just be honest about like what this means to me. When are we doing the Rocket League thing? Yeah, I can't. Like I said, if the conversation is flowing, I gotta prioritize and favor the conversation, because Rocket League is a niche. I'm not necessarily a gamer, and that's where it gets confusing. I mean, maybe you can help me out. If when I'm doing, have you ever joined one of my? Oh, you have. I remember you have joined one of my outdoor gardening, or just outside doing work. Do you think that PSK? Do you think that there's that it's okay to have an audience that's so split that on one spectrum, I'm digging in the dirt and I'm talking about compost? Like, I have this short that I put up recently where I happen to realize that inside the chicken coop there is the snow compacted some compost that was it wasn't even compost yet. It was purely chicken poop, and it was compacted, and I didn't realize the chickens have just been compacting it more. So I went and dug in the soil, and I just smelled this like pungent smell like real quick, and it came out like a patty. So I'm wearing gloves and I'm holding it, and I put it to I didn't have to put it to my nose, but when I did, it was like bam in my face. So I'm holding poop on one hand, and then in the other hand you have me holding up my controller. So I'm like this, poop in one hand, controller in the other. Like they don't mix, and I'm struggling to understand it, because I like to play Rocket League, but I don't think I like it in the same way that people that play it do, because I'm still an older gamer, so to speak, where the whole being online thing was not a part of it. Rocket League is the first game that and this is within the last few months, it's the first game that I've ever played seriously online. Doan says, I know Priscilla Presley's son. We are friends. Met her a couple times. Oh, that's cool. I kind of monitor his lives. People are so mean to him and his mother. That sucks. PSK says, I would love to help you play Rocket League. Yeah, sometimes I do what you do to help my dad. Oh, cool. Yeah, I think I have to figure out, hey man, if you want to help me train, I gotta fit it into the busy life, because right now, like, I work a full-time shift. The stuff I do on the land, I would say, takes second priority, because if I don't get that stuff done, then I'm not gonna be able to feed my family in a certain way, or just that's where my ego is. I don't have an ego when it comes to this. If the internet goes out and I don't have it, I'll try to go on my phone. But if it don't work, it don't work. The gaming and Rocket League, really, I'm only playing that so that I could support my son and him, getting further in it. For me personally, I don't have any desire to do it. And in fact, he's turning into wanting to be an announcer. He has, yo. He just walked in here. I was going to let him demonstrate his announcer stuff, because he's working on. We were talking about Michael Buffett in the car, and trademarks and copyrights and business and entrepreneurship. Come on, give him some. Come on, give him some.
What?
Let me get he scores.
And they score!
Did you guys catch that? They might need another one. No? Oh, they gotta pay?
Yeah, they got it. $1 million.
$1 million. I got him on my, so that's the thing, PSK. Like, yeah, one day, but I'm tomorrow's a good day actually. I'm off. But yeah, Mick the Pig, he said, haha, nice. Yeah, so we, again, my job is to listen and react, to meet him halfway. There's, when technology shows itself and it changes so fast, parents are like literally holding on. They got a rope and they're being pulled behind a horse. They cannot keep up to the world that they see. So I'm blessed enough to have technology skills, not have a fear of gaming, and kind of understand why they get so much, why when they're so stimulated at these things, that I'm not just ridiculing them, making them feel a certain way. An example is, my wife is a little harder than I am when it comes to, he's in the middle of a game. These games are timed, right? Or they have like an outcome. Like if you play Fortnite, and I don't play it, but if he's in Battle Royale and he wants to finish, the game, he wants to see if he wins or not. When we were growing up, when your mother says, or your father says, it's time to do something, like now, you know the now, you know the look, you know the now. You're supposed to stop what you're doing, get up, and go do that thing. And I actually don't have an issue with that. I totally understand and get that logic. I grew up with it. You do what you're told to do. You can coach me and my son. Do you have a website, sir? You got a business card? Send me a contact. But you'll be more coaching him, because I ain't got much left in me. YouTube is going to take every strain of what's left. So I don't have a problem with the way we grew up. And she, Carolyn says, yes, you did it, or you were in trouble or worse. There's a worse than trouble. There's so many layers to that, and none of it is good, right? None of it. So I understand that he's I'm too young for one. No, you're not. I had a website at 11. He's on a rank grind. So this is how they capture our children. They have these levels, and you're competing with people all around the world. There's no, oh, I'm only gonna compete in New York. So you want to be the best. So you start unranked, and then you play 10 games, and then you started wherever you are based on those 10 games. So we started at bronze because we're trash, right? And he was at bronze. So I started playing, and he seen me get to silver. So he knew it was possible because I'm next to him. Because these kids, they don't want to be in the same room with each other for whatever reason. So just speaking to the disciplinary of this, when you lose a game, you don't uprank, you potentially downrank. So the difference of him needing to do something and taking 2 minutes to finish that game to get him to a state of where, and this is just this one child, this is not my philosophy for all children. Some of them are so stimulated when they're in it, and they focus so much that they need closure in order to move on to the next thing. And my ability to just be the judge and jury and decider at that moment, I think it's a pride thing. I'm not stressed out. There's nothing that him not listening to me for those next 2 minutes doesn't change a thing for me. We did what we were told to do, and there was no reason behind it. It was just a respect thing. But that person, the parent, the guardian, the grandparent, they created the rules of engagement. But it's my turn. And the rules of engagement is there's a time when there's an emergency, and there's a time where I understand that you're investing in something, and I'm gonna ride there with you. And PSK, this conversation is all to you. I play for him. I don't play for me. In a sense, I do YouTube for them. I don't do it for me. It's not my ego that I don't need to be here. Do I talk? Yeah, if you guys weren't here, I'll just be talking to myself. But kids of today, they want to do these things, and there are barriers. Sometimes there's a monetary barrier. You ask a kid what they want to be, and you start going through. What did my daughter just tell me? And this will roll right into the topic that I wanted to bring up. And the topic is called "It's All Relative." And I'll give you a backstory based on what my daughter, what she said to me, which connects to this topic. We were talking about a fortune, and I probed her. I said, "You don't see this fortune around you? You don't see the fortune?" Mind you, we have a foreclosure that we're still fixing. And I said, "You don't see this fortune?" And she looks to the left and the right, and she thinks, my dad is he on something. There's some meds that's carrying him for him to think that this is a fortune. And I say to her, well, my vantage point of the world, especially since I just visited the Bronx and I was able to point out my building when we were driving by, and you see all of these towering, colorful buildings. Shadow Black. I was on Fordham Road, and Fordham Plaza still looks exactly the same. The signs on Fordham still look exactly the same. And actually, I might be able to show you a picture because that'll come up, but the video wasn't. So that all looked the same. And then I say, you see that little brown building next to all of those, like jammed in the middle of those colorful buildings? That's where I lived for 25 years. So I had all of those feelings inside of me. And when I got home, first thing I say to her is, "You don't see this fortune?" And it's relative, because when I grew up, I told her, I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment. That means that there was a bedroom, a kitchen, a bathroom, a hallway, and a living room. And that's it. So as she's looking around, she says, first thing she says to me is, "You didn't have a dining room?" This is exactly my response. You didn't have a. Is what?
Is my money here?
Your money? No, they're not paying for that. You gotta work on that. No, he's going to bed, man. We're on Eastern time. It's almost 11 o'clock. So I'm laughing at her. I'm saying, "What do you mean? Is there a dining room? You just don't get it. Is there a dining room?" The closest thing I got to a dining room was the Cosby Show. The Cosby Show. That's the closest thing. There wasn't any. I don't even know if any other shows that I watched at that age had. It was the Cosby Show. That was the closest thing. I would watch them in their dining room, which they didn't have many scenes in, but they did have a formal dining room. So what I say to her is I count out the rooms like I did to you: bedroom, bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, living room, hallway. See, I gotta name the hallway. And I say, when you look around, I 5x'd my life at least. See, you're doing it, PSK. Exactly that. Cause I you know how I know that that's not true? Cause I've been on here for an hour and 11 minutes. And even if I was, I just don't feel like playing, bro. So you're right, Shadow Black. These kids don't know. Shadow Black also lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and it was bedroom, bedroom, bathroom. You might have had a second bathroom. I didn't. But bathroom, this is it. This is what we're dealing with. Cosby Show, Fresh Prince. Yup. That's it. Family Matters. I wouldn't even give. Yeah, I guess Family Matters had a little table off to the side. And so I say to her, the fortune that I'm expressing to you is that when I was your age, I have 5 times what I saw when I was a kid. I didn't even know what I have is possible. And then I looked at her because I'm not having I'm still meeting them halfway. I'm still showing humility. I'm still on their side. And I look her in the face and I say, I 5x my life. What will you do? And then I walk away. I say it again. I 5x'd my life. What will you do? And she kind of chases after me because she know at that point I won, right, the conversation. She goes, this is why I'm telling you this. She goes, I'm gonna do what Mr. Beast did. I'm gonna do what Mr. Beast did. These kids, they got exposed to Ryan. We spoke about that some time ago. Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is all in their face. He has candy bars. So I gotta buy overpriced candy bars when I'm leaving the store because it's strategically placed. Because these are marketing geniuses. Oh, Carolyn loved these shows. That's what's up. You know Shadow Black had an indoor pool. Shadow Black goes, yes. It was called my bathtub. Well, interesting. Oh, you had one bathroom. Okay, no, I thought your mom might have had maybe I'm mixing that up with something later in life. But yeah, so we pretty much had the same apartment, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna put some little table, and it's gonna be in the kitchen, you know. Yeah, I did. So that's funny you say that, Shadow Black. I did get into the dimensions. I looked at my dining room, and I said my kitchen was a quarter of the size of the dining room. She looked at me and was like, I said, the bedrooms that we have, my bedroom, both of them, was a quarter of the size of what we have now. And she doesn't know how we even lived there. Like, it doesn't even make sense, right? It sounds more like a what did you do wrong? You did something wrong to get in that situation? Like, no, that's some people's life. And it was a good life. And I didn't have, because you don't know what you don't know. And we didn't have all these outrageous aspirations. Our job was what, Shadow Black? To stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble. That, okay. And it wasn't easy. That was not easy, but that was the goal. That was the job. So when she said to me, you live in a mobile home. See, I didn't, because of the difference in the northern culture, I wasn't as exposed to mobile homes until I started going down south more. Like, observing trailers and double wide, triple wide, and even the trailers I went to as a kid, I didn't see them because they were like bricked in. I didn't understand what was going on. I just flowed with it. But we were also very grateful, and we weren't allowed to, when you see something egregious, outrageous, you better keep your mouth shut. If you're, you can't just say things. So I'm pretty sure when I saw things that I didn't understand, I just it was fun in tornadoes. Well, that's a good childhood. I went. Oh, it's single wide. I went. I definitely been in a few hurricanes that were kind of fun. I ain't gonna. It was a thriller. It was like the feeling, the rush that you want to get when you go to a theme park. Sound like you want punishment. Payments of $400. Well, I take the $400 a month. And don't get me wrong, when you buy, it's just a cultural thing. When you buy something that is more than what you need, you kind of don't realize it until you're in it. And I could see myself living with a lot less than what I have now. I definitely could see myself living with a lot less size-wise, because the more you have to maintain and support. But I'm learning, Stay out of trouble. And these are, in Shadow Black, I would love to hear your take. If you want to call in, that is a super amazing point. Stay out of trouble, because I'm against what you're saying. I know that was the rules that were put out there for me, but it did not help me to prosper. Stay out of trouble, go to school, and get our education. Absolutely right. In what order would you say that is? Because I think that the order is right. Stay out of trouble, go to school, because you can stay out of trouble, and you could, if you get into trouble, you ain't gonna be able to go to school and get an education. If you stay out of trouble, you can still not go to school. That's me. And you can still get an education. You can get a different kind of education. You could also stay out of school. Stay out of trouble. You could go to school, and you could not get an education. And this is what makes these things, for me, there's just a lot left to desire, to contribute to prosperity. You lived in one when your kids were young. They're not sturdy enough. Not for my kids. My kids don't appreciate that. When I didn't know any better, I came and we purchased the house. Like I said, it was a foreclosure. I thought we were gonna get lucky. That moment where you're watching one of those home TV shows, some home improvement show, and they pull back the rug. When they pull back the rug, there's always hardwood floors underneath. That was not my story. That was not my story. My kids don't understand that the hickory floors that we walk on, Me and my wife found a way to budget and install these floors foot by foot without knowing enough. Being from the city, I installed subfloors, these floors, and stained and sealed. And they don't realize that every step they take in this house came from these hands. Oh, don't scare me like that, Don. Oh, I know that feeling. You have stuff packed up 30 years ago and still have it packed up. That's how we do culturally. We kind of just gotta share and figure that out. It's definitely a rush. I've been in hurricanes and tornadoes. Oh, you need to tell that story then. Become a nurse, make 48 to 55 an hour. Oh, you moved because you didn't like living in there with kids? Let's be honest, that was both of us. Shadow Black is snitching on himself. Usually I'm not into snitch culture, but Shadow Black says, and I'll give a backstory. You tell me when to cut it off. So keep the live as up to date as you need, Shadow Black. Shadow Black says, let's be honest, that was both of us. And I didn't know exactly what he was talking about. And then the next line says, come on, I cut homeschool. And this is the actual true story. Shadow Black, at one point later in high school, he was homeschooled, which played well into my benefit. So never have your child be in homeschool while they have a very strategic, smart friend by the name of Darnell, because they will abuse that and take advantage of that. And there are times where Mr. Shadow Black would cut homeschool. if that's a thing. Yeah, you have laid towel for a lot of work. So I'm 6'3", and yeah, that was now I'd do it again. So that part doesn't. I would do it again. I'm not really weirded out. I think it was an interesting task. It was interesting, but I think when I forget sometimes because I get traumatized by some of the harder projects that I've done in my house, and I tend to forget how much effort I've put into it. And again, it's bigger. Once it's bigger, you're gonna have more work, and that is not. If I could go back, it does fit my family, but it fits my family in a grown way. Everybody grows up, and we're able to be here and not conflict with space so much. It doesn't really fit the young part of the family, and I would love to see me being in a stage sort of like what I think Carolyn just said. You were in a trailer, then the kids come along, and then you like, oh, this doesn't work, and you go on to the next and to the next. I feel like I've just been stuck in this big situation, and I don't really have the hands to help me to support it. But either way, we make our choices, and we just got to get better at it. So I think from my perspective, like I said, the topic was really just revolved around, and you guys could tell me your side of the deal when it comes to that. I feel like I 3x or 5x. It could even be as high as 10x where I came from, because there's this interesting question that my son asked me, which made me really think. He said, if you wanted to go in the grass, Shadow Black, this is for you also. If you wanted to go in the grass, where would you go? Because he realized that Shadow Black lived on the second floor. I lived on the third floor of a building. And there's no grass immediately outside. So he said, if you wanted to go play in the grass, where would you go? And I had to realize that in my childhood, I never considered grass a part of life. It's there when it's there, but it's not a normal part of life for a kid in the inner city. even some of the parks you go to, if you have like a really nice field, they might have astroturf. So I didn't really have a need for being in grass. So it's night and day, right? Like during COVID, my kids were some of the luckiest kids, compared to where we were in the city, where kids couldn't go anywhere, and my kids were just in the backyard and having, fun every day and just go running outside. So where would you go? My answer Denroy F is, I may have to play an old sound for him because he came out of nowhere. So Denroy F grew up near this park he's saying, St. James, which I was at today. And yeah, St. James is pretty far from me to say that I gotta go to get some grass. I gotta go over a couple neighborhoods. It may not even be cool for me to be in that neighborhood. So that's night and day. And I feel like I've 3x or 5x, potentially 10x my situation. And I'm looking at my child and giving them an understanding because they need to be more grateful as to what they have. I was grateful for what I had. I didn't know I needed grass. I didn't know I needed grass at all. Denroy, thanks for joining. Tell me if the video looks crisp. We've been working on things. I've been spending all this coin to improve. That's totally a lie, because this is the same no budget stream that I've been doing, and we are on day 62, and we're gonna keep that going and prove the naysayers wrong. Shadow Black, I did not get to answer when you told me you were interested in hearing about why I felt like a content creator for the first time, or a streamer. My answer is in my drive. Yeah. Before I answer that was actually, I was not naive. Denroy F in the chat said you could look at grass through the gates of Fordham University. That was inside that. I did not ignore that, but I did not tell that. I did not give that as an answer, and I did ignore it internally. I found it sad that the most beautiful grass, probably in the Bronx, was actually right outside, but I wasn't allowed to touch it. Fordham University is a closed campus. It's not an open campus, and I grew up in the Fordham section of the Bronx, and I can see Fordham U. I could see the Fordham U library from my window growing up. I've always stared out and looked. I've had an opportunity to go into Fordham U, but it's not a place. Yo, Darnell, I just went to a streamer's live and he was getting roasted. Why was he getting roasted mad? I would love for somebody to come in here and roast, because I got the crew in here. I got Shadow Black. Shadow Black is in here. They don't want none of him. Denroy F is a lurker, so you never want to deal with a lurker. I have new family in here. We got Dawn in here, Carolyn in here. I don't really think they want it. And for me, I'm not emotional about these things. So, and Mick the Pick, of course, I've seen Mick the Pick already fold people up out of the chat. Yeah. See, Mick the Pick is still here. So it's not going down like that, sir. Good luck next time. So I did feel like a content creator. I just wanted to bring that to you guys, especially you guys. Don't you're new, and Carolyn, but we had a conversation about a month ago when I was giving feedback about where I was and whether or not this was working, and I don't know if I was just having a little bit of, play well with others. I think Shadow Black is more into the zodiacs and knowing the behaviors of zodiacs. I'm not. But yeah, we were having a conversation, and specifically Mick the Pick and Shadow Black was telling me about how there's something impactful about me coming on here, being a talking head at times, and sharing with people. And you never know, people might look forward to it. Yeah, I ain't gonna play in the next 20 minutes. We're having a great conversation. Why would I spoil the conversation, PSK? You gotta we gonna have a what do you call that? Is it an intervention? We gonna have to have an intervention with you, man. You might need to let that game go. When you having a good conversation, have it. When you work, you work. When you play, you play. Shadow Black says, Scorpio, game over, game over. Man, I gotta get that as an audio. Let me write that down. The little Flip song. The flip, game over. I don't know what you laughing at, Mr. Lurker Denroy F, but I was trying to tell Doan and Carolyn something and get over to it, but I keep coming back. So yeah, we were having that conversation about just what this is from the other side, because I don't understand it. Sometimes I'm left with the numbers. There's good nights, there's bad nights. One deathly, all one tonight, please. That's what you talking about, Shadow Black? I don't know what Shadow Black's talking about, but he'll figure that out. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have second thoughts because I think I was just going to push through this as a discipline. It was more so trying to figure out, the question that I brought up is how long do I go? And I've since decided that I'm going to go 100 days, and I've not second guessed that since. But these guys were giving me a lot of quality feedback as to, you know, what this could mean for others, and my feedback to them, which I'm following up on, and why I'm expressing this, is because at that moment I felt no responsibility. If you guys remember me saying that, I said I didn't feel any responsibility as a content creator, because I was still seeing things only through my lens. Like PSK is super active in the chat. In fact, PSK has not, you know, there was a comment about helping his father out, but for the most part, PSK wants to play Rocket League, and he's coming in here to play Rocket League, and maybe that. And I want to get training from him. I think he said he's champ 1, which is a pretty high rank, way further than where we are. I want my son to get help. It'd be great to get some training. But at the same time, my feedback was, like, I didn't feel responsibility to what's on the other end of the camera, you know, because it hasn't been that long. And this, whether you're on my side or your side, I'm sorry, but I'm at the phase of my life where there has to be a return on investment. There has to be ROI. And the ROI, as Shadow Black, and I think Mick the Pick was telling me, is because Mick the Pick was like, I gotta agree, and Shadow Black is coming in, you know, he the coolest and all that, and they beating me down, and they saying, but you don't understand, you don't see it. Well, that's because, you know, there's a different return on investment. And yes, I believe in everything I talk about having a positive energy, and coming on here and not finding the most polarizing topic to talk about. I have not once veered into a political conversation that's going on, that's polarizing, that's gonna offend somebody. Even though I've gotten questions, I've gotten pretty egregious questions on the live, and once I knew enough to read and process and still continue to talk and respond in the way that I needed to respond, we got to a point where that made sense. But I'm not here to add any kind of negativity to any viewer who wants to come in, even if somebody just swipes in and swipes out. For me, that's like walking. You know, I'm from the city, so I'm from the city because I'll be saying that too much as if I care like that. I hope that doesn't come across like that. But why I say that is I went to a high school with 5,500 students. I'm in an apartment building with hundreds of people living there. Daily, you're walking past thousands, if not tens of thousands of people every day. Like, the Bronx has 2.5 million people. And me and Shadow Black, potentially Denroy F., we're walking from here to there to there. You're just seeing people, people, people. So when you swipe in, to me, that's like walking past somebody in the street. And if you know how the old world was, you just say what's up to people. I'm glad you said that, Dome. And there's enough politics to find you, right? So that's been my goal the whole time. And it's not that I don't watch and can't watch politics, but if I had to sum all of this up into a bottle, that's not the message that I want to leave with you. I don't want to walk past you and say what's up, but I'm saying what's up in a shirt that's saying exactly how I feel, and it may be super offensive to you. And that's really why I don't do that. Let me just read what Shadow Black wrote, because he put Shadow Black is the number one. Carolyn agrees. Yeah, I don't get into the politics of it. And if you guys ever see that, maybe we need something to say, hey, just put it up, and I'll understand that this one is affecting somebody. Cause there's just no need. There's no need for that. I don't see that to be quality. See, you trying to get political, don't. I do believe that's a choice. That's okay, but that's your choice and that's your personal belief. Whether or not you want to do that. I'm an avid voter. I'm actually politically engaged. I follow a lot of political information and content, even organizations. I'm a donor, just in the line of agriculture. I donate to the Real Organic Project, which is, it's about food, and food lobbyists actually, I think there are more food lobbyists, more money goes into food lobbying than military. So, yep, that's it, and that's what you got to promote. That's what I promote as well. You just never cared to. Yeah. No, well, Dawn, I'm not from a place where people are super engaged. So when I became a homeowner, that changed because, Rashash, what's up? What kind of recipes you got? Rashash, are you the one who came here with the red? Let me check. I remember if I see your channel. Hold on, let me check. Cause if so, I haven't seen you in a while. Oh yeah, I remember the I remember the chicken tandoori. Welcome back. Oh, Facebook has too much politics on it. Yeah, it's all good. No, I remember. I actually remember, because what's funny is day 62. Rashash, that means it's day 62. It's Sunday. That means on Wednesday you have to come back. If you come back on Wednesday, I'm going to the Indian restaurant to go get chicken 65.
Ready or not, ready or not.
I'm going to get chicken 65. I'm okay. How are you? I missed Shadow Black's statement, so let me read this, because he writes the paragraphs in here. No, I was talking about throwing it. Should not have to read like that. You with the trolling? That's cool. Yes, they say on Wednesdays day 65. Let me show them. They may not know what chicken 65 is. And like I said, I have a. You know how you have a good Indian restaurant is when the people you have here from India frequent it. So this is chicken 65, and I was told by my coworker that this is where it's at, and you gotta get this. So on day 65 of streaming, we gonna have to make this happen, and I hope you come back. But I remember the conversation we had about this, and yeah, I'm still the same person. So I'm here rocking, and we gonna do it. Okay. All right. So yeah, I kind of lost my. No, I've never visited India. I don't know how you're gonna like this, but I've followed Sadhguru, just from a YouTube sense and from a movement sense. Sadhguru has the, I'll just look him up real quick for the soil. I know there's a lot of controversy around him, and the view from inside of India might be different from outside. But I follow, yeah. He has a soil movement that I remember being engaged with. Yeah, it's called Save Soil. Let me just put this up. You don't know Sadhguru? A lot of controversy around Sadhguru. Oh, so I missed that message. It said my mother never told me who or what she voted for. She always said none of us. Yeah, that's true. But that, you know what? That's true. And hey, Sadhguru, look up Sadhguru. See this? I'll just put in the chat because I want to talk to Carolyn and Dawn about. Sadhguru is a guru. He definitely has a lot of words of wisdom. I always say, if I'm passing you somebody, I'll just say I'm aware of the controversy. There's some mystery around how his wife may have passed, and how he was able to build where he's at now. But there are no perfect messengers. There's only perfect messages. That's something that one of my favorite creators, Dewan B, I've heard him say a lot, and it makes sense. We get these people that pass in and out of our lives, whether they're public figures or in our family, and there's things that you could learn from those people, but the things that they teach, sometimes it's not them teaching or offering directly, but the receiver of it, we can analyze and see things that, see the good in some of these situations, and kind of avoid the controversy. So that's my angle there. But he's a very popular figure of Rashas. So yeah, about the voting thing, yeah, I agree that that's okay. But I had a something I wanted to bring to you guys. I'm glad that conversation was brought up, because there's something my son did. So he's watching YouTube, and during the election time, YouTube ads would, like, they were they were doing repeat ads, like a commercial break of 2 commercials. I've seen 2 of the same ad. I don't know if you guys, if you went through a similar thing, but my son, who at the time was good question, Shadow Black. Go explain your Indian understanding geography. So my son I think I voted already, and I came in, and my son said, 6 years old, he goes, "You didn't vote for Mike Lawler, did you?" I said, "What?" He goes, "You didn't vote for Mike Lawler, did you?" He's 6 years old. Why is he saying the name of a politician? And it clicked right away. He then says, because he doesn't care for the elderly and he's taking away Medicaid.
Ready or not.
So I'd have to say that I watched enough TV, and we all watched enough TV, and commercials were a part of our life. Yeah, make the pick. That happened. I do not think that I ever took the information on an ad, a political ad, took that information when I wasn't even a player on the board, when I couldn't vote, and I said to myself, don't vote for him, and make sure my parent doesn't vote for him because he took away Medicaid. So now I have to have a conversation with him about vetting information. So he's 6 years old at the time. So now we're having a vetting information conversation. Yeah, of course you truly don't listen to them because you're from a different generation. The one thing that's missing from the younger folks, the real younger folks, is they see truth, and because their brains are processing this, like their young brains still has an innocence to it, and it doesn't know how bad the world can get. That's my take on it. You're not even a professional. My take on it is that, hey, Katie, it's okay. You could join right in here. We're trying not to be political. We're on a thanks, Mick the Pick, for shouting. Okay, we're on the line. Okay, we're on the political line. I'll explain what that means. So I was explaining how I really, want to be on here and assure that I'm not being political, because I think it's really hard to have positive energy if he was almost asleep. If your views are so polarizing, and it's almost not even an opinion at some point, where someone's going to be happy, someone's going to be upset. And it's not that I want so that everybody could like what's going on and the conversations that we have. It's not really that. It's just that from an energy standpoint, I have to be responsible of what I'm giving off. So I was talking, Katie, about an experience that I had where my son, at 6 years old, I came home from voting. And we were really just talking about real briefly about being active. Dawn was saying how she just recently voted and kind of ignored it for a long time. It was a lot of work. And so I'm pretty active on the political side, even though I don't want to partake in any of that content. And I got home from voting, and my son says, "You didn't vote for Mike Lawler, did you?" And he's 6 years old. And what did I do wrong? Look, I'm not saying whether I did or I didn't. I'm an independent, and really, so I'm more so listening. I'm not just blanketly going one line or the other. I'm listening and educating myself about who I'm gonna vote for. You don't care for the debate. Well, I care about me personally. I care that I am aware enough about the policies or where, and I'm talking from a local standpoint, where things are going, where this initiative is going, because they don't really do much in 4 years. So how long has this been going on for? Am I happy about whether they represent the needs of the people? And that's what helps me to swing my vote. But my son, just to catch Katie up, my son said, you didn't vote for Mike Lawler, did you? Why? He goes, well, he's taking away Medicaid. That's not good for the elderly. What the hell is that doing for you at 6 years old? What? Oh, they yelled the whole service. Why at 6 years old are you worried about politics? And it's because you watch YouTube and the ads are just frequent, and you don't know how to, everything that you receive you think is true because you live in this world of innocence. I love watching prison shows. That's one of my top shows. What is that? What is 60 Days In? Is that the show where people who either want to help the prisons, or they think they got what they take, or they just want to get on a show, and most of them or all of them aren't actually in prison, and they go in undercover? That's one of my favorite shows. I would love to watch that. My kids can't watch that. It would be like them watching some fantasy land because they're in a bubble. Many of our children are. They're in a bubble. And though I could claim some responsibility, I'm not against them being in a bubble because they're children. I'm not against a 6-year-old undercover boss. I like that show. 60 Days In is just it just gets me. And there's a lot of prison shows get me. There was a one, I'll see if I could find it on the side. It's on Netflix, I know that. Where they let the prisoners out. So the prisoner, no, they're in jail, and they're in some of these overpopulated jails, and they're 23-in-1 lockdown. And the prison tested a program where they allowed the prisoners to not be locked down for the 23. You have more employee issues today than you did patient. Yeah. That's our reality, right? So I just think they live in a bubble, and in some ways I'm okay with that, and I was telling you guys the other night with Barack Obama, when he gave his speech at one of the NCAA, not NCAA, I'm good. I said NCAA, NAACP. He was awarded, and he gave like a speech. And he said when he would go see kids that are 6 years old, they all had the same look in their eyes. And then by the time he went back, like a few years later, say like 10, 11, he said, the kids that were in deep poverty, all of their faces changed. They didn't have a glow anymore. They didn't have a sparkle in their eye. And the difference is that life happened, right? So I'm super aware in my own upbringing and history, all of the things that I was exposed to. And you could say I may not have been ready for some of the things that occurred and happened. That some of them are unavoidable. Some of them were within your own family, not gonna just say it here, but there's things that affect you and traumatize you, and you don't really know I don't think I knew the word. I don't think we used the word traumatized. If I'm 8 years old, I'm pretty sure I'm not using the word traumatized. So the kids also have words that they know the word because they come across it, but they don't know the power of the word, which is also a difference when we grow up, because we were taught not to use words that you didn't know the meaning of. You know, so all in all, I guess I'm just talking about like parenting, and I'm very patient with it, and I don't think it's about whether you're doing it good or bad or right or wrong, but my system is definitely about meeting my kids halfway. And if all these children want to be Mr. Beast and everybody wants to be a streamer, it doesn't matter if you go back 20 years or 50 years or 70 years. There was always this thing that everybody wanted to do. When I watched the Temptations movie, they said that there were only two things that you, and I'm gonna get to that question because I know you about to make me roll out into something. There were only two things that you can do. They said you could either work in a car factory, and so they were living in Detroit. You can either work at a car factory or be a singer. So everybody naturally wanted to be a singer, and the fallback was a car factory. When I was growing up, there was a time where I'm sure every kid wanted to be some sort of an athlete. You go to the inner city, you go to a classroom, everyone's going to be a football player or a basketball player. So now that has changed. So Katie says, but do we protect our kids too much? Maybe let kids in a little, educate them on the truth at their level. That's exactly what I'm saying, Katie. I was telling a story about driving into the Bronx today to be with family on Easter, and I was interested in the Bronx River, watching the river. That even though I'm from the Bronx, I never really engaged with the river much. One of the scariest things about being from New York City is you don't really go near water and organic things and grass. Like, yeah, Brooklyn is the borough of trees, not so much the Bronx. So like grass and trees are few and far between. So most of your life is a concrete jungle. So now that I'm so exposed, the two things that caught my eye in my whole trip was pigeons and seeing the concentration of pigeons, which I'll probably post a video of because I did make a nice little video when I was out there, and the Bronx River. And I do think that we protect our kids a little too much, but I think it's also the right decision for the time. Everybody has their choice of how they make that decision. I think if my mom, in my situation, it was just my mom. If my mom had the ability to protect me more than what she did, she would have, but she didn't have the ability to do so. So I don't take kindly to a lot of times they say, well, we did that because of this. And look at you, you survived. Look how you came out. The reality is we turned out that way because just culturally, this is how things were going to turn out. And they didn't have time. They didn't have the patience. It always seemed like they were on the clock. Dawn says, in reality, people don't usually like everything someone else does or says, no matter who you are. Yeah, it's true. Mom always said to us kids, I love you, you're my kids, but I don't like you right now, all the time. Absolutely. And that love was never a problem, right? Love was never the problem. Katie says, I tell my husband that a lot. Yep. And I go to that love and like. Yeah, don't. So you say, so there's a lot of water around New York. So that's the problem. It's like I have a family who went to China and they told me about in China, there's places that they hide their slums, and they intentionally engineer the buildings, and the people who work the city that can't afford to live in luxury. They live in slums that are in little gap ways to get to the slums, and the buildings are surrounding the slums. So the people who are of the place a lot of times don't get to engage in the place. So when I get family that come from out of town and they want to, oh, we're going to go visit Darnell. He's in New York. Don't do that. Because I'm going to be a tourist just like you. Because when I go to Manhattan, I'm a tourist. Because that's not the world that I grew up in. Shadow Black agrees. He says, don't use the words you don't know the definition of. And I would go as far as to say that was not just reinforced by parents. That was reinforced by schools and other people. But we don't live in that time anymore because our children are watching things that are expressing their understanding before we have the ability to teach them certain concepts. Today, I played my son in our first game of chess today. Understand something. I played my son today in our first game of chess, and I'm not a frequent chess player. That's not my game, but I know how to play chess. But it's the first game, and I'll follow up with him. I believe this is our first game. How did he know how to play the game of chess? I looked at him and I said, are you in like a chess club or something? I have no idea how my son knows how to play chess. Do you understand how that makes you feel as a parent? He still had a few questions, but nothing I could teach him with because he already knew how to play the game. Now, when we're kids and you go from the, checkers and chess come together because it's the same board. And when you learn checkers, you cool. And then you get into the double jumps. Ha, 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 ha. Then the triple jumps. And then you jumping backwards, diagonal. It's about time for you to play some chess now. So any of you guys that learn how to play chess, who taught you? It probably was a school or a club, and there's this slow introduction, and there's playing a game and getting good at a game. And I observed, because he plays video games, and we were talking about him being competitive at those games, because that's what I'm supporting, is him taking them serious at times, but also having fun. But he knows how to play chess, so he's already further than what I could provide for him. Don says, I did crap she did not like. She loved unconditionally. Yep. I flew once Caesar was going to Nashville to Dallas. Instead of sitting 3 hours, I went to see New York from the plane. Yeah, it's beautiful. See, you're a tourist, Don. But what you got to do with your kind of tourism is you got to have it's just like when you go out to another country. There's going to the tourist area, and then there's going to where the people actually live. I enjoy both, but I more so enjoy seeing the reality, knowing I got the real experience of a country and of the people, because especially being Americans, we're exploiting the fun of, the luxury of being an American. So when you go somewhere, it's kind of set up for you to succeed, And when you get the privilege, it actually is a privilege to see the people and share the culture. There isn't much culture that's being shared within the privilege of staying on your resort. That's not cultural. What you're doing is you're just getting the benefits of the food and the fruits, and you may hear a little language from the staff, but they're not really sharing with you because you're being pushed into a class kind of situation. It's not an equal footing. When you show up in the town, you're on an equal footing. Don't says I suck at chess. Them damn knights. Never understood the game of chess. With Carolyn, I'll ask how my son learned, and maybe you got a shot. Katie, no chess. And the point there is, oh no, that's hilarious. Oh, YouTube videos. You know, Domino's though, YouTube videos. It could have been YouTube videos. It could be just downloading. They have like maybe an app that has different games in it, and I'm a trial and error learner as well. So it translates, and he's a quick learner. So I could see him learning. He just never expressed to me his interest in chess, because I would have absolutely played him in chess. I play Othello, if you guys play that, and nobody wants to play me in my house because I destroy everyone in Othello. They don't want to play me, so I never get to play a game. But I told him that. Yeah, definitely. I ended up in Watts once in LA. Ooh. I want to, but just to say I did it, because you've been hearing these names and the history of what those places mean to the country, and potentially the community that you're from. Watts, South Central. I would love to do so. When I went to LA, I ended up then going to Long Beach. Really, LA was just to get to LAX. I don't really like those 6-lane on each side highways though. That don't even make sense. You want to stand in Times Square. Yeah, you can be there with a lot of other people. Yeah, no, it's an experience. It's an experience. Bread shops would be the death.
This life gonna be the death.
That's funny. Oh, your son used to live in LA. That's cool. My daughter she potentially wants to go to college. In her head, as far as she could get away from here is LA. But I don't know. She's not on the right foot in understanding why do you really want to get away. But I'll let her work through that. I'm not gonna put any pressure on her for that. But guys, you made this a really good live. The only thing, I was in the middle of talking, I kind of lost myself when I was saying about. Oh, okay. I never really answered this. Let me just answer this. If you guys have any feedback to that, if we could keep it a little focused on that, and then we could get out of here, because we're doing a great, man. It's been 2 hours and 8 minutes. I don't even know how I do it, but I do enjoy this. LA is the Bronx is a crazy place too. Charlemagne the God from I don't know if he's still on Power 105 or Revolt. I don't know what station they're on, but it is one of the most popular radio shows. He says the craziest people in the world are in the Bronx and all of Florida. So take that how you want to take it. He's been saying that for years. So I was talking about how these guys, Shadow Black and Mick the Pick, we were discussing just the responsibility that I have as being on YouTube and coming on the stream every night, and that you tend to grow relationships with people, and it means something in both directions. And I was saying I don't feel that responsibility yet, but today when I went down to the Bronx, I was feeling something emotionally, because it's Easter and it's, I don't always frequent the Bronx, and then doubling up, going to church and sharing that with family. And so it was kind of emotional. But instead of just sharing that with my family, I felt a responsibility to like kind of try to capture some footage. It was random, and the footage I was capturing wasn't for me per se. It was for putting together as a content creator. And I don't know if I have any good footage. I don't know the value of if it'll actually turn into something immediately. Because sometimes that's a part of it. I suggest to people, and I think it's a good suggestion. I don't know if I seeded it or it was something I worked through with Chat GPT. When you feel like filming something, and sometimes when you don't feel like filming something, just film it. You do not have to post it. There's a difference between, and this is where being older doesn't help, because you think that everything that you film, and this is probably Shadow Black, if you're still hanging out, it's April, brother, and you said you was dropping some content, and this is why, this is the problem. Just because you film something does not mean that you have to post it. If you go live and you don't like what happened, you are more than free to set that video to private and no one has to see it, right? If you film something and you review it, you don't have to post it. So we shouldn't really have this pressure that I have felt personally to film something, but I felt like I wanted to share something as if you guys kind of ask me, and people that I've been noticing are starting to really get my vibes, get my humor, and sometimes at times be more serious about some of these discussions and topics and really give feedback and interaction. I felt like I wanted to share that, because it's one thing in saying I'm from here, I'm from New York, but I wanted to share a feeling of me going back home, so to speak, because it doesn't happen, and it's really hard if you don't know me personally to understand how far I've come from a mental side, a physical side, geographically. It's just night and day, and I felt it, So then throughout the day, I think it was the first time that I offered to somebody, maybe not been the first time, but to family. I don't really tell anyone like, hey, this is what I'm doing, right? And it's not about embarrassment. It's a deeper topic about support. I've never put this on paper because it always kind of rolls off the head. Support to me is, and this is not the full definition, but if we're talking about somebody who doesn't have their bearings and they can't really make decisions for themselves, that's different. But if you can make decisions for yourself, support to me is me communicating with somebody about how they can help me, and them understanding what I'm saying and following through with what I expect. Right? Now, if you break any part of that, that's not support. If I say, hey, can you show up to the stream at least for 5 minutes, and it's going to help the numbers. If you want to put something in the chat, that really helps to drive things. So if you come in and you don't do that, you don't put anything in the chat, and then you tell me later, hey, I did show up, but I didn't feel like staying on there, so I left. I don't really know if I classify that as support, because I'm talking about something that I'm asking you to do. So people love to throw around like that they support you. So when it comes to family, I've noticed over time that especially as you get older, the things that you're interested in, you can't expect others to be interested in what you're interested in. It's your thing. even inside my house. This is not like just for people outside of my house. This is even your immediate family. Like, this is my thing. It's not their thing. So when I miss a night of streaming, all they can say is, oh man, you missed a night. They still gonna cook the eggs the way they cook it. They still gonna make homemade pancakes with chocolate chip in it. And it's gonna be some maple syrup. And they gonna keep doing what they doing. And they're not gonna feel the pain for me of somebody who came on here with a goal or created a goal while on here and streamed for 62 straight days and wanted to go to 100. They're not gonna share that. They're not gonna inquire after and help me to build and think through it. And I realize that, and that's why I don't share those types of things. What they potentially will do is come on here and say some odd things or have these feelings and want to share some negative feelings about what you're doing, because it's nothing like being serious about something and then people not knowing how to support you. So you have to be careful of the people that are closest to you, because they don't really know how to feel. And it's not that they're doing bad things, but support is not an easy thing, especially the older that you get, because it takes a lot of selflessness, and that is not reeking through our community. There's selfishness, but selflessness is really not a thing. So I was telling a family member, and how I got into it was they were asking about what I was going to do for gardening this year. And I figured, well, if I'm willing to have that conversation, if we were all the same, it would be very boring. Yeah, absolutely. And it's not so much about being, I guess what I was saying, it's not really being the same or different. It's that I don't see myself as, I don't think age has anything to do with goals. Like, it's not always a constraint. So what I'm doing is an exploration into something that could potentially change my life. The same as when I was playing basketball, and if things went a certain direction, it could have changed my life. You know, the same as when I invested in my skills of computer programming and I became a software engineer, and it changed my life. I don't see this as any different. The same as when I went out on my own and I consulted and won some contracts and did business. When I'm doing those things, I don't know why people close to you don't respond to those things with just a little bit of, extra oomph and a little follow-up. And I just don't think people have it in them, because we're weighed down as we get older with the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And the people who aren't using the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, they don't tend to get really highlighted until they did something in the world. And then it's that moment where it's like, that's my cousin. That's my cousin. Look at my cousin. So it takes a lot to go out and do it alone. And this is not my first endeavor, first journey of doing something. This one is a more visible one, which is even easier to contribute to. So they were asking me, a family member was asking me about gardening, and I found it interesting on the fly that while I'm on YouTube, I answered that question, because I'm answering it in real time. That's my preference is to have. That's what I wanted to do. I never thought about being on here streaming every night. I thought about coming on and being in the garden and sharing my experiences and my references, my sources, and then showing you how I'm going to do something and then grow within that. And here I have family who, they could express to me saying something, but what better than showing you what I've been doing on YouTube? And at that moment, I realized that does matter to me. I am being more comfortable, and that means that I've accomplished something. It's the first time that I really felt accomplishment, and that's why I would have confidence and live with good night, Carolyn. I'm about to get off here in a second anyway. And live with the outcome or the results of sharing with people that are personal, to you, like family. And so it's just an update on where I was at not too long ago, a month ago, and it feels interesting, and I hope, it's all about growth, and I hope it'll continue to change and grow and trend in the right direction. But where I am, it's a big week. I figured a lot of things out within this week, and I'm gonna just keep this thing going. And for whatever you guys want to do, you shout it out, and I hope you keep what you need to keep going. And don't sometimes, and it ain't me making up some, new concept. And I don't have it on my board. I'm looking at my board because I kind of have this phrase that I wrote down to help to get me. Oh, I remember it. It's believe in you more than you. That's my concept. That's my mantra or motto to myself. Believe in you more than you. And what that means is you're two different people. You're the ego, and then you're beyond that. And the ego is the one who's talking, is appearing to people, and then you have beyond that in your self-conscious. So you have to believe in you. So you believe in the ego, which you're offering. No, it's the reverse. You have to believe in the you that's inside, more than the you on the outside, because no one else is going to do that. No one else is going to be able to do that for you. And it's going to be ups and downs and trials and tribulations. And Dawn says she needs help. Dawn says she needs help because she got more than 3, more than 2, more than 3. I feel that way, Dawn, but I think it actually is 1. It's like, oh yeah, that is you. Pretty dynamic of a person. So I don't put it past. I'm not surprised by that. But yeah, you have to believe in you more than you, because even you will become them. You will respond to yourself with doubt. You will tell yourself, you will, bring yourself down. I remember, I gotta read this. Dawn says, my second husband asked me to marry him. I looked right at him and said, you are sure? There's more than one me here. Well, then he got more than one woman. I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, you're the person who also, you can be a reflection of the things that you hear from the outside. And you could tell yourself, no, this ain't it. Or no, you shouldn't keep going. No, just little things. Oh, your camera quality is not going to be enough. You're going to have to go spend some money that you don't have. This ain't for you. Coming on here just talking. Like, who you think you are? You have to believe in you more than you. And you got to stick to your mantra. Whatever keeps you going, whatever helps to guide you. But sometimes it's all up here. That's tonight's show. It's been awesome. I hope everybody has a beautiful, if it is the start to your week, Monday, like it is for me. I hope you really enjoy the start to your week. It was great getting on. I went a little bit longer than I expected. I got to catch up on something in a few. But this was really awesome. Thanks for everyone who made this a great night. It does seem like we have to do some chest training. So maybe I'll see if I could get something together. Maybe I'll get my son on so he could teach us all where and how he learned chess. But everybody, you have a good night. Your Friday is a start. I figured that was for you. So everyone, have a good evening, and I hope you have an awesome start to your Monday. And watch out for some content from me. I'll be back to posting, and I should be on live. I think I'm off tomorrow, so I should be able to come and do a nice live earlier than usual, and then I'll do the evening, of course. It's the night, man. The nights. All right, guys. I will catch you on the next one. Let me just... All right, check you guys later. Let's see.
Fall season, night edition. Let's go get some eggs. Ride with me.
Oh shit. Oh goddamn. I'm in the snow. Hold on. Ooh. I can't see. Oh. It better be worth it. All these goddamn. It's kind of dark, but it's not really dark. Because I guess the reflection of the snow. But it's dark enough that I shouldn't be out here like this.
But it is thaw season. Let's get these eggs. It's thaw season, and we got eggs. Check me out on the nightly stream.
It ain't my fault you're not subscribed. Subscribe.